have enough. I'll meet you guys on the flip side. All right. Make sure it can be heard. All right. Make sure it can be heard. And I can be heard. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to share. It says stop sharing, but I'll never stop sharing. So again, we're gonna watch some true crime today because you're my true crime besties. I'm so sorry you can't see my face, but I figure it's more important that we talk about the true crime because that is what we're here about. We are here for true crime. Okay. All right. So today we're gonna watch some. I'm gonna stop. Okay. I don't want you guys to feel like why does she keep stopping? Oh, it sounds like it's choppy. Ali Aliaxa free. Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure. Yeah. Sounds a little choppy. I'm hoping it's my cell phone acting up and the service acting up. I'm hoping. Oh my gosh. It says you can see my face. Oh my gosh. It says you can see my face. Oh my gosh. No, you can't see my face. Okay. So, if you're on here, let me know. Drop me a little heart chat. I'm watching it from my YouTube, my cell phone. If you can't hear, let me know. I'm watching again from my cell phone. So, and like I said, I'm going to be going through and I'm going to have to pause here and there and talk over it. And that's so that I don't get hit with those copyrights because I love talking about our crime. I love us sharing stuff, and I know it'll probably get annoying to hear my voice, but I also don't want to get my channel shut down before it gets started. So thank you for being kind, you guys. All right. And if you guys are ever like, I want to watch true crime, you guys can just do searches and people are sitting here and uploading these so you can watch it. Are they supposed to? No, but they do. And you thank them for what they're doing. Not all heroes wear capes. So, all right, at this time, we should be able to start. Get your snacks. Let's get. I hope you got your PJs on. I'm wearing my Selena crop top, and I have my Mickey Mouse sleep pants. So I hope you guys are ready. Let's get into it. True crime.
A selfless and caring mother of three. She always thought about other people. She was just a bright light shining. Viciously murdered in her own home. Her bedroom was incredibly blood-soaked, unlike I'd ever seen before. There was anger involved in it.
It's always I don't know if that's by design, but you always hear detectives and police officers that it is the worst thing that they've ever had. And I know some people are like, why do they always say that? But you've got to understand for some police officers, this is not a normal everyday thing. Like if you're coming from a high crime area, then okay. But from a lot of these crimes, they're happening in small town areas. So this would be the bloodiest that they have probably seen in that place.
This crime. I remember just screaming. Investigators are sent down a rabbit hole of suspects. She didn't like him. She didn't trust him. It raised a red flag that there might be some sort of affair going on. She was jealous of her life, of what she had. There's clearly bad blood between them. Every lead appears to turn into a dead end. They just stalled. That was disheartening. Until a surprising witness comes forward.
Ooh, I love surprise witnesses.
The break we were looking for. Exposing a killer no one saw coming. I was pretty shocked. I just remember being sick to my stomach. Cortland Township lies in the heart of Michigan. It's fairly rural. Nice, pleasant. kind of a good hometown feel. It's one of those areas that everybody gets along, and when you're driving by their house, they're waving at you, and it's just peaceful and quiet.
This quaint community is stunned on Saturday, August 5th, 2006, when the Kent County Sheriff's Office receives a 911 call.
Emergency. My daughter was found her in bed and got a rash on her arm and she's all bloody.
For this to be his daughter, he is very calm about reporting this. Very calm.
Just before 5 o'clock, we received a call of a potential suicide at the Pagel residence.
Officers are immediately dispatched to the home of 41-year-old Pagel.
We were met by Renee's stepmother and her father. They were both just in shock. Renee's father indicated that his daughter was in her bedroom. When I first walked into the bedroom, I observed Renee laying on the bed. I just remember seeing all the blood-soaked sheets, her shirt. There's blood on her face. It was obvious that Renee Pagel was deceased, and it wasn't a suicide. This was a homicide.
Officers secure the scene.
Yeah, I'm just like, how do you? I guess, like, why would he? And he might think like, my daughter has no reason why no one would ever kill her, So maybe to him it is like it would be a suicide, because who would kill his daughter?
As homicide detectives arrived,
her bedroom was incredibly blood-soaked, unlike I'd ever seen before. The bed was covered with blood. There was blood spatter on the walls, on the ceiling. She was stabbed multiple times. I was pretty shocked by the amount of wounds that she had. When I looked at her hand, I saw a large laceration almost in the middle of her hand, to be, in my opinion, a defensive wound.
So, all right, you guys. So you guys know, when there's we know that if it's a stabbing, that's a very close style type of assault. So 9 out of 10, this is somebody that they have a familiarity with, right? Crime of passion, when there's so many stabbings like that, somebody is mad.
Renee was in the fight for her life. Unfortunately, she had lost.
For detectives, the viciousness of the attack is a clue itself.
It appears to us as a crime of passion. Somebody has something against this victim, so much so that they want to brutalize this person as much as they possibly could. This was personal. Somebody went into that residence to murder Renee.
Who in Renee's life would want to attack her and could be capable of such violence? Born in 1965, Renee's spirit was always full of joy.
Renee was the most generous person I have ever known. She loved life. She was always smiling.
Renee Pagel devoted her life to helping others.
She was a nurse. She'd done medical mission trips around the world.
Aww.
And then she also worked at a homeless clinic here in town. She always thought about other people.
Renee's greatest joy was being a mother of 3.
She loved her kids so much. She was a great mom.
Recently separated from Michael, her husband of 10.
That dude did it. Yeah, I hope he didn't do it. I hope I'm wrong, but stabbing, crime of passion, divorce, red flags.
10 years, Renee shared custody of her children while always remaining a devoted mother.
The last couple years, because she wanted to be home with her kids and wanted to have some more normal hours, she chose to teach at a technical center.
Even as a teacher, Renee found new ways to help people.
One of her students had come into class one day and was really down, and Renee said, "What's the matter?" And she said, "Well, my dad is dying. He needs a kidney." And so Renee agreed to give her kidney to this man who she had never met. She was just so selfless. And it manifested itself in so many ways. Just so selfless.
Renee had undergone the kidney transplant surgery just 5 days before her stunning death.
So she was already in a weakened state when she was attacked.
Could the killer have timed the attack, knowing that Renee would be recuperating?
What a way to go. You sat here and you did something for someone, like truly out the kindness of your heart, and for this to go down. I I do believe in karma, but I think karma has like caveats. Some people some people will be like, "Oh, that's your karma." And it might, but you sit here and you give your kidney to someone, uh, I would think that, karma would be like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, you guys, let's let her live." But controversial comments, my bad.
Detectives look closer at her injuries, hoping they'll reveal telling details about the murder weapon.
It seemed to be a very strong. That was wide.
That was blood soaked. Can you believe that? You know what? I'm a weirdo. I like reenactments, and when they stage the pictures and stage the blood to see real blood, I'm like, oh, that's where I draw the line.
There's no sign of the knife, but forensic technicians searched the bedroom for other evidence. There was large amounts of blood that our scientific support unit had to collect, and they collected trace evidence like hairs and fibers for testing. Detectives continue to search the rest of the home.
What struck me about this case that was kind of odd, there was no other areas that were disturbed, that were bloody or anything tracked to the home. It seemed to be
They
very
had a
honed in
mission.
on just her bedroom.
Yeah, they had a mission.
Really kind of puzzled us as investigators. It was the most bizarre scene I've ever been in. This person, in my opinion, had to know that they had to cover their tracks, and I think it was planned, and they thought this out ahead of time.
They could have at least messed up the house a little bit and pretend that they weren't there for a mission.
As continue their work, detectives speak with Renee's parents.
Her father, obviously, he was extremely. What he had just found out, his daughter brutally murdered.
Detectives ask her father to help them put together a picture of Renee's last known movements.
He last saw her the night before, around 4 or 5, and the children and bringing his house, who lived approximately 15 to 20 minutes away from Renee.
With Renee's children safe with their father at the time of the murder, she was home alone.
He told us he spoke with her on the phone around 8 or 9 in the evening, just checked in on her because obviously he had a lot of concern of her health.
Based on the state of the body, detectives believe Renee was murdered sometime between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. They ask her parents who Renee might have seen last.
Her father talked to me about a tenant, Mike Decker, who was a acquaintance of Renee. That
We have someone new enter the chat. I mean, that's possible. Perhaps Mike was a disgruntled renter, and she had to go and put her foot down, and he's just like mad where he would kill her. I mean, it's happened before, so that's not unheard of.
has been living on the property for approximately a year and a half, 2 years. Also, he did speak about a contentious divorce with her husband, Michael, that she was going through. Mike wanted full custody. Mike wanted the home. Mike wanted to not work and have Renee work and be the provider.
What? Wait. So wait, he wanted the house, the kids, and no job? I mean, I know some people be like, that's what women want, but I mean, you need to work, dude. If she's running the household, then she's wearing the pants in the family. And that guy looked kind of, I thought that he looked kind of big, but wow, he sound like a bum.
So that obviously piqued my interest. Could either of these men have possibly wanted Renee dead? Detectives know they have to hit the ground running right away. You have to find out who all these people are and go and start to question them to try to find out where they were on the night of the murder.
See, I like that type of blood. I know it's fake, doesn't give me nightmares. When they show me real pictures of real blood, squeamish. I don't know what the logic is behind it. There is no logic. That's just me.
Coming up, investigators uncover an ominous obsession. There was a lot of writings about his hatred for Renee. Alarming secrets. The ceiling had a hidden compartment. Renee told me how betrayed she felt. She was extremely upset. She was very hurt by this. And the truth blindsides everyone. We've never had a break like this. It was, you're not going to believe this. Just disbelief. I'm still reeling from that one.
Ooh. Ooh.
Detectives in a small Michigan town are investigating the vicious murder of 41-year-old mother of three, Renee Pagel. Police are looking into two possible suspects, her tenant and her estranged husband. They first turn their attention to Renee's ex, Michael Pagel. In the beginning, they seemed like your average all-American couple. She did tell me that she did love him. She wanted marriage in a way, and he was the opportunity. She looked at him, I think the words were the knight in shining armor. And speaking to friends, the family, they described Michael as a fantastic dad. That he was always about his children. Nobody said anything bad about him. Married life seemed like a dream come true until cracks started to appear. When I interviewed numerous people, I was told that Mike didn't want a full-time job. Mike wanted to be at home with the kids and let Renee do everything and support him. They were just having a lot of issues back and forth.
And you know what? So let me be clear. All right. So what it sounds like is he's a great dad, and I love that for him. And it might have changed where he's like, hey, look, I want to stay at home and you go to school or you go to work and you pay for everything. You want to be a house dad. I don't think that there's anything wrong with being a house dad. Whatever parent chooses to stay at home, I think that's wonderful. What's probably the issue was she was in her mind, she thought, hey, this is how we're going to do it. I'm going to work, you're going to work, and we'll take care of the kids. And he probably changed his mind down the line. He may have didn't think that he would love fatherhood so much, but he wanted to be at home with children. And I think that's hard for marriages. That's why I'm all for people are going to hate me. I feel like people should wait till they get married because what you want at 25 is not the same thing you want at 35. Like things change, your wants change, and that's okay. But you're not done growing mentally as you're 25, and I don't know though. But he'd have to work if we dating. He's gonna have. If we're married, he's gonna have to work. That's just my thought. That's for me.
In early 2000. Mike abruptly surprised Renee with divorce papers. She was very shocked and just sickened to the core.
Oh, so it looks like she wanted to continue the relationship. He was the one who wanted out. Okay, well, I could be wrong. My apologies.
Had been some turmoil in the past between them, but in her mind, things were actually getting better. They were kind of turning around, so she was blindsided by it. She said to me, he expected the house, the kids, and $2,000 a month.
Oh, he wanted to be the woman in the relationship. Oh, nothing's wrong with it, but You got to start out that way. You can't just change a house, kids, and $2,000 in alimony. I mean, women do it too. I can't be super mad, but mm.
In June 2006, just 7 weeks before she was murdered, Renee and Michael had their day in divorce court.
When the judge ruled in her favor and said that she got the kids, she got the house, and he was going to have to get a better paying job, something flipped in him.
Was Michael so angered by the ruling that he killed Renee in a furious rage?
And some of you might be like, "Hey, women do it too." But if if you started out as a housewife, I can see why you probably get that, right? Because you started off that way. But like, you can't be working and then quit and be like, I'm just gonna stay at home. Like that takes a conversation with both of you guys. So, all right, let's keep going.
There were a lot of things that put him at the top of our list as a potential suspect. In the living room where Mike had set up some pillows and some blankets. Then she stated about 8 in the morning, she and Michael had a brief conversation and then they went about their day. So basically, she was giving him an alibi that he was home all night with the kids.
Okay, I mean that's logical. He's a dad, wants to be at home with his kids. That sounds. You know what? It's me. I must be a man hater because I'm like it's always the husband, but it's my fault. Okay, let's go.
As police finish the interview with his mother, Michael arrives.
I explained to him that something had happened to Renee and we would like to speak to you about this. When Michael was told that she had passed away, there was no reaction out of him. And immediately, without me even going any further, Michael reached into his wallet and gave me an attorney card and said, "Yeah, I've been told not to talk to the police. Here's my attorney."
That seems super suspicious. So you find out that your wife has died, and not just died, like she was brutally murdered. And the first thing you're thinking is, let me give you my attorney's information. That doesn't seem suspicious in the least.
I thought that was extremely.
The day after Renee's murder, police arrive at his home with a search warrant.
A big red flag.
Looking for any type of knife that may have been used during the murder. We took a lot of knives from the house, but we found no knives that matched the length and the size and the different characteristics of the knife that was used.
Police also collect hair samples.
I don't like, look at his face. Look at that face right there. One, he's not a bad looking guy, okay? So I don't know why he would do this. All he has to do is like just maybe color his face in a little bit, shave himself up. Not a bad looking guy. He could do it again, right? But number two, I don't like the way his face look. He doesn't look sad. He doesn't look anything. That dude looks like he is highly suspicious. Whatever they said he did that shit.
Samples and fingerprints from Michael.
We wanted to get photos of his body to make sure that there was no cuts or anything on him. We wanted clothing to see if there was any blood trace evidence anywhere.
All the forensic evidence that we collected, we never found anything that was useful in our investigation.
All the knives in his home were examined, and there was nothing to link them to this crime.
We had no murder weapon. We had no real evidence. It was clean. So when we left that search warrant, I would say we really came out empty-handed. We didn't have anything to tie this murder to Mike Baker.
Despite his potential motive, Michael Pagel drops off detectives' list of.
He just seemed too smug. And I could, like, some dudes really hate their baby moms and ex-wives, whatever. I get it, but I don't know. If they they'll at least if they have a, that's one of the things, like, if you're a good dude and your wife is a good mother, and you're like, okay, I don't like her. I don't like the person she is, but I know my kids loved her. She's a good mom. Like, I don't know. I don't like him, but okay, they say he cleared, but I don't like him.
Suspects, while news of Renee's violent death quickly spreads across town.
Her friend called me and said, Chris, Renee's dead. It was surreal. I remember curling up in a fetal position and just screaming. I screamed. I was angry.
As her friends and loved ones struggle with her death, Renee's autopsy report comes in.
Cause of death was blunt force trauma, homicide. It was a large, heavy-duty knife that was used on her. The autopsy revealed upwards of 50 stab wounds. There were numerous lacerations to the hands and the feet, suggesting defensive wounds.
She was stabbed over 50 times.
Sheesh.
I'm still reeling from that one.
It gotta be the husband. It's gotta be him. 50 times to stab somebody? Like, you gotta be really not liking someone, and you just gotta be like, stab, 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 stab. Like, that's a lot to stab somebody.
It was so brutal.
She had this barn that had an upstairs apartment. The renter.
The barn was about 75 yards away from the main home. He could have been involved. He could have been a witness. He could have overheard something. One of her friends believed that the week of her surgery, Renee was going to have pizza with Mike Decker, and that she felt that there was some type of maybe a relationship going on. So that sparked our interest. I mean, if he's having a relationship with Renee, did something happen to cause him to get upset and potentially do this horrific crime? We had to find him immediately.
Two days into the investigation of Renee Pagel's murder, detectives have a possible suspect. Lieutenant Mike Decker, who's rumored to be romantically involved with Renee. Detectives interview Mike at his apartment on Renee's property.
At first, I kind of thought loner, 30-year-old gentleman, unemployed, living above a barn. I thought that was kind of odd. When we were speaking to Mr. Decker, we asked him if he's having a relationship with Renee, romantic or whatnot. Mike said that a relationship is more of a friendship or a kindness thing, no romantic involvement. He denied having any dinner with Renee over the past week. He stated that it was actually a month or two before he suggested that they go out for pizza just as friends, but Renee had turned that down because she was busy.
He might be interested in Renee. Like, he might be interested in her. She might have turned him down, and he might have gotten his feelings a little salty.
Police ask Mike Decker where he was on the night of the murder.
He stated that he went into a local city to eat by himself, drove back probably between 8 or 9. When he arrived at home, he watches a little bit of TV and then goes to bed between 1 and 2 in the morning.
Detectives ask him if he heard anything that night, especially after what they had found at the crime scene.
We did locate a tire track and a footwear impression in Renee's driveway.
He denied hearing anything from Renee's house.
Mike tells police notice anything unusual the next morning either.
He woke up in the morning around 9 or 10 and then went to meet with his family to go see a bike race. Part of the problem with Mike Decker's alibi, even though he was through this process, he was on the property when this murder happened.
So he was on the property and he didn't hear anything? Either this was a quick situation or the insulation is really good, or, Mike probably was busy, like, flogging his bishop. I don't know.
With no one to corroborate his alibi, get a warrant to search Mike's apartment.
We seized his pipe from his sink because we wanted to see if there was any blood or trace evidence in there, and then we found a couple of large knives.
The evidence is rushed to the crime lab for analysis.
The knife pipe forensically did not show anything. There were no signs of blood.
We found no knives that matched the type that was used.
But still, Mike cannot be ruled out. A week after the homicide, detectives interview him again, this time at the sheriff's office.
He showed no issues of concern of us looking at him as a potential suspect from gathering any type of from him. We even polygraph, and Mr. Decker submitted to that also and passed without any deceit.
Okay, I'm less likely to think that it was Mr. Decker because he just said yes to everything. Usually when I see they're saying yes to the polygraph, DNA, it's a good chance that they had nothing to do with it. However, the husband was taking pictures and everything, so
With nothing tying Mike Decker to the crime, investigators let him go. Searching for any further clues about Renee, detectives reach out to her parents once again, and in turn, get a lead on a new suspect, Renee's own sister, Michelle.
what?
Renee's father stated that the relationship between Renee and Michelle was strained. He mentioned that Michelle was jealous of Renee's life, of what she had. She wanted a successful career, a family, a home, all of those things.
But a side note, like, Dad didn't care. He was just like, yeah, my daughter could be. He threw his daughter in the ring. in the ring. But I mean, at the end of the day, I guess it's like, it doesn't matter. As long as we figure out who did it, that's what we care about.
Renee and Michelle's problems went beyond sibling rivalry.
During the divorce, Renee's attorney was able to subpoena the phone records of Michael Pagel. So he turned those over to Renee. When she examined phone records, she learned that Mike and Michelle were talking frequently.
Ooh, that's scandalous. That is scandalous. So she's talking his sister? Her sister is talking to her ex-husband? No, like, so there are instances where I don't care if you guys are still friends. What happened between me and them is not the big deal here. Like, what happened between me and him is between me and him. All right. If y'all are cool, you're cool. So if we're friends, different scenario. But if you're my sister and I'm going through a divorce and he's the cause of it, no, you team me all day long. She's the ops, y'all.
So she was extremely upset. She was very hurt by this.
As she should be.
Such significant communication between Mike Pagel and Michelle that it raised a red flag to us right away that there might be some sort of affair going on.
Renee told me how betrayed she felt by her sister. She really struggled with that.
During the interviews with numerous people, it was mentioned that Michelle potentially was having a relationship with Michael. Once I learned that, it's obviously somebody we wanted to look at.
Michelle is brought in for an interview. And though she says that she is saddened by her sister's death, her aunt raised eyebrows with investigators.
She didn't speak very highly of Renee. She was not happy at all the way that Renee was handling the divorce.
Michelle clearly took Mike's side in it and kind of put her sister in the bad light.
She felt that Mike was a good father, and it was her sister that was really trying to take advantage of him.
We did ask her if she was in a relationship or had a relationship with Michael, and she completely denied it.
I'm curious where she's at today, because it's kind of like, again, your sister. You couldn't be on your sister's side for this. And I mean, and what if her sister? What if the decedent was wrong? What if she, wasn't handling things correctly? I don't know. I just don't see me doing that. Like if my sister feel like you wronged her and it's valid. I mean, I don't even say if it's not valid. It's just I have no need to have a relationship with my sister's ex-husband of any shape or form. It has nothing to do with me.
Detectives asked Michelle where she was the night of the murder.
She said she was working into the evening, and that evening she was home with her roommate. Basically, she was staying the evening of the murder. Michelle did take a polygraph, and she was found to be truthful and did not appear to have any involvement in the homicide.
Well, that's good. At least the sister isn't really horrible.
With Michelle all but ruled out, investigators discovered that she isn't the only family member Renee had issues with.
When I spoke with Renee's parents, it was mentioned that Michael, her soon-to-be ex-husband, had a brother. The brother was Charles Pago. They called him Bo. And they said that he was very strange, very odd. He and Renee did not get along. Renee didn't like him. She didn't trust him.
When detectives dig deeper, they uncover something troubling.
We learned from a close friend of Renee that he had been married numerous times, and she believed that maybe Bo had murdered his last wife.
Was Bo a killer? And had he now killed again?
That obviously raised some red flags for us
Oh, what if Bo and the husband did it? Oh.
as investigators, and that's somebody we wanted to speak with very quickly.
Hmm.
Detectives investigating the vicious stabbing of Renee Pagel are looking at her estranged husband's brother, Bo Pagel.
Bo was married 3 times in the past, and one of his ex-wives died under suspicious circumstances.
One of Renee's friends gives a statement to police, claiming that she believed Bo may have killed his ex-wife.
Obviously, really sent us his way was a potential murder of his last wife, so that had our attention.
Detectives must determine if Bo could actually be a killer. They look deeper into his background.
Bo was a loner, lived at home with his mom.
Live at home with his mom and a loner. Sounds like a killer in the making.
We learned that he was on the road trucker, and he traveled all over the country. He would be gone days at a time.
Investigators also look closer at Bo and Renee's fractured relationship.
There was clearly bad blood between him and Renee, dating back years, going back to the wedding.
We found out that Bo refused to be in the wedding. He was going to be the best man. He did not like her, thought she was not good for Mike, and he didn't approve of it whatsoever.
I wish we knew what did he not like about her.
He was outspoken to Michael about even marrying Renee. And I think the relationship between Bo and Mike was really more of an estranged relationship for the 10 years that Mike and Renee were married.
But after Renee and Michael's separation, everything changed.
I do know that once Mike filed for divorce, he and Bo rekindled that relationship and became pretty close.
Bo was, I believe, happy that Renee was in the picture and he could have his brother back.
Oh, look at him. He want his brother back. Suspicious.
Could Bo have wanted Renee permanently out of Michael's life? Detectives bring him in for questioning.
So we interviewed Bo, and he denied any knowledge of the murder, denied any involvement. Bo had said that through the week he was on the road trucking. He got home Thursday night,
Bo's alibi was that he was essentially across the state. He had driven a route the day of the homicide. He had gotten back around 6 o'clock and had gone out with some friends for dinner. And then afterwards, he stated he went home to his daughter and then went to bed. And then the next morning got up and went canoeing with his daughter. We contacted his work. We spoke to the family that he actually had dinner with that Friday evening to account for what restaurant until what time. It pretty much matched up. Though most of his story checks out, no one can confirm that Bo was at home at the time of Renee's murder.
Sounds suspicious. No one. And he wasn't home. He doesn't have a real alibi. I don't know, Bo. You're not looking good, buddy.
Needing more information, detectives reach out to Bo's daughter. We confirmed with her that they went on the canoe trip in the morning. Bo's daughter also puts to rest any suspicion that Bo was responsible for her mother's death. She gave us details about her mother that we didn't know. She was a diabetic. She had some blood sugar problems, and she really didn't care for going to the doctor. So she didn't seek the medical that she needed, and that ultimately is what resulted in her death.
Oh, so it sounds like the decedent was just out here starting some mess. Oh, I could see why he might not like her.
She did not suspect Bo of doing anything. Though Bo's alibi isn't ironclad, there is nothing concrete to link him to Renee's murder, and he is released. It's been 6 weeks since the homicide, and the investigation has ground to a halt. Just because there was no physical evidence that would help tie any one person to this crime. We looked at every person: the estranged husband, his brother Bo, Renee's sister, and Renee's tenant, and there was nothing to link them to this crime. Police continue investigating for many months, but with no fresh leads, the case goes cold.
And this is wild. Like the killer has to be in their midst, right? Because it doesn't seem like she had a lot of enemies. She seemed cool AF. But every now and then, like there is like a small percentage of people who are killed, and it's by a random individual. So fingers crossed.
It just stalled. There was a point where I felt that we would never have a conclusion in this case. It was just sad that we couldn't bring closure into her family.
As the months went by, I was just like, what is going on?
Once the months turned to years, that was disheartening. For 13 years, there are no new developments.
13. Good googly moogly.
In the case. But through it all, Renee's best friend never gives up hope.
We created a website in the year 2007, and it was a really therapeutic way for people to grieve and share stories. And that website was very effective in getting the word out about Renee's murder, doing whatever it took to find justice for Renee.
In a stunning turn of events, which was a complete shock to Bo. And it immediately made Bo angry. He said, I believed you for all these years. We've supported you. And come to find out, you're the one responsible. I can't believe you would have done that. And I think this made Mike angry. He expected to congratulate him. So the way Bo described it was out of frustration. Mike took the knife and threw it into the river. Bo described it as about a 12-inch long.
Wait a minute. How did we get here? Did we miss something?
Through it all, Renee's best friend never gives up hope.
We created a website in the year 2007, and it was a really therapeutic way for people to come and grieve and share stories. And that website was very effective in getting the word out about Renee doing whatever it took to fight justice for Renee.
In a stunning turn of events,
which was a complete shock to Bo. And it immediately made Bo angry. He said, I believed you for all these years. We've supported you. And come to find out, you're the one responsible. I can't believe you would have done that. And I think this made Mike angry. He expected Bo to congratulate him. So the way Bo described it was out of frustration. Mike took the knife and threw it into the river. Bo described it as about a 12-inch long, bigger knife. And it appeared to be a very strong, sturdy knife.
investigators get Bo to show them exactly where Michael had thrown the knife.
Okay, so it looks like they jumped out a bit. They chopped a bit of the scene out. But what I can put together is Bo and the brother was hanging out. And remember, 13 years has passed and they have that website. So I'm thinking Bo must have contacted someone through the website. And now he's telling the police what happened. His brother Michael, who I said did it, because I'm a hater. His brother Michael said that told Bo that he killed his ex-wife, and he thought Bo was gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, that is so amazing! You're a hero." And Bo was like, bro, ain't nobody tell you to do all that." And so he got salty and threw the knife in the river. That is crazy. So he's known about this for 13 years.
There was quite a bit of old metal, various pieces of cars and other things inside the river. And in my opinion, that wasn't a safe diving environment. We had to find another means to search the bottom of the river.
Police wonder if they will be able to recover a knife that has been in the water for 9 years. Then, one of the detectives comes up with an idea.
It's called a rare earth magnet. The magnet is something that I've had at home, and it just came to mind as an option for a way to search the watery area and to grab whatever metal pieces were on the bottom of the river.
It was tremendously impressive for him to come up with his own homemade magnet device. And, he concocted his own fishing line and pulling it through the stream, which is remarkable.
I think that's awesome to have that creativity, and this tells you the difference between people who like to do their job and people who generally want to help. They come up with creative ways to go above and beyond, because other people could just been like, well, guess we'll never get that back. And this guy was like, no, I've done some stuff before, let me do that. So I think we need to push for those on the police force to have more creative ways to do things.
Police spend 3 days painstakingly dragging the riverbed with no success.
So we were on our last few passes of the river, and I began pulling toward my side, and then it was, you're not going to believe this. Just disbelief. The knife was stuck to the magnet, and it was exactly as Bo described.
It was late in the day, I want to say 3 or 4 o'clock, and got the phone call. He got the knife. I'm like, no, are you kidding me? He got the knife. No.
And this is the magnet and the knife exactly as we found it. It was awesome. It was everything you could hope for when you're investigating a case, to get that piece of evidence that you need, that you really weren't sure if it was going to be there, but there it is.
That is crazy. That's been there for that many years. Cheesy Pete's.
Police now need to confirm if the knife matches the knife used in Renee Pagel's murder.
We brought it down to the medical examiner's office. They viewed it and instantly said, absolutely, it's consistent with the injuries that are on Renee's body. Very confident we had the murder weapon.
Unbelievable. We've never had a break like this. We got the needle in the haystack by finding the knife, and now we had a murder weapon that backed up what a witness said.
It was to validate Bo's statement that knife was thrown in that water by Mike Pagel.
On February 6th, 2020, 13 years after Renee's death, Michael Pagel is officially charged with her murder.
Yes! I knew you was the culprit, Michael.
So this case is going to hinge a lot on the testimony about, but it's still circumstantial evidence. And is the jury going to believe him or not?
In the midst of that, the defense attorneys asked if we would consider a plea offer. When someone asks for a plea, it usually means that they're willing to tell the truth. And in this case, that was one of the conditions, is we wanted to hear the truth as part of the plea agreement.
The prosecution agrees to a plea deal of second-degree murder and a minimum of 25 years in prison.
We wanted to get a term a year to make sure he was old enough that he would never harm anyone again.
On May 20th, 2020, 55-year-old Michael Pagel agrees to plead guilty to second-degree murder, avoiding a trial by jury. But at his plea hearing, Michael suddenly turns the case on its head.
It was unbelievable. I just remember being sick to my stomach.
After 13 years of investigating the heinous murder of Renee Pagel, her husband is finally being charged for the brutal crime. But at his plea hearing, Michael makes an admission that takes everyone by surprise.
I hired my brother, Charles Pagel, to kill Renee Pagel. Charles Pagel murdered Renee Pagel.
We were all absolutely shocked when he said that his brother did.
No loyalty, man. I mean, I guess you could say that about his brother too, but I feel like when it comes to murder, you gotta loyalty can't. I don't know. I always tell everybody around me, don't commit no crime around me, because if you killed somebody who was innocent, like they didn't kill anybody, and it's not self defense, I gotta tell. So don't do that to me.
Mike maintained the fact that Bo was the one responsible. He admitted that he had orchestrated it and that he had planned it, but insisted that Bo was the one that actually did the stabbing, which is a complete shock to us. We had investigated and we found no evidence, nothing to directly tie Bo Pagel to this murder.
Had Bo been hiding his involvement all along? While detectives take another look at him, they all...
But that could make sense, because remember they took pictures of the husband initially, and he didn't have a scratch on him or anything. But she also was like a little. She had that surgery, so let's go. Let's figure this out.
also dig for more evidence against Michael. And after several searches of his home, they make a surprising discovery.
At Mike's house, we found the ceiling had a hidden compartment. When we took this down, we found 3 hard drives in this hidden compartment.
Investigators spend time decoding the contents of Michael's hard drives, and what they find is chilling.
In those hard drives, there was journaling. I would call it strange. It appeared to be...
Okay, let's see. I wanted to read this. This morning, Renee gets up at 7:50 and say, "Blank, go to breakfast." She bitches and bitch around 8:30. She says, "I'm taking the kids to breakfast." She rants and raves and says blank in front of the kids several times. She makes no sense. Blank, now go also. At the parking lot, she says, "Gee, I hope I won't make a scene. You might not want to." So obviously he's not great at grammar, but neither here nor there. Personal files, you probably won't see it. This B manipulates me, and IHH. Let's see. Blank comes over and they take the van. Everyone is outside in the van, and TB comes in with blank on the Our Father. TB says, "So I thought that you came right home from church. I get blank something 3 weeks ago." She thinks she catches me in this big lie, and that how can I be mean and deceitful to her? I don't know. That's the word. I get really blank and say, so how long after the baby is born before you did oops? In a way, it feels good to really tell her what I think she is up to. We divorced now, and what really is the difference? She will have the baby with her without me. I blank beware at the time if we divorce baby's born. She is a sob. I thought it would be better. I can't say, but I can't take it. I really want. I wonder, like he don't like her. He really does not like her.
Written by almost two different personalities.
It's been a while. How are you? I am something for living in Grand Rapids. My wife is what's going on? My wife is a bitch. In what way? She's a control freak. Okay, what is good in your life, Mr. 2004? Joe Professor loves Legos, loves sports, just a good boy. The bee put on beds. Sarah Princess loves horses, coloring, most of all, love playing with others. Admires Hannah A. Hannah, a little bear, my love, my life. I can't explain the love I feel for that little girl. David, self-centered, a little bit too good for the rest of us. Beth was just in that played at the playhouse. Blank is a cool boy. We just talked. She talked to Tom and thinks that the problem was my anger. Little does she mention the provoking that precedes the episode. She states that yes, he did throw the gate, but she apologized right away. I guess that makes it okay. She also states that because of the kids and financial reasons. She said that I would love if she killed herself as I would get the kids and 100K in the house. Oh. Actually, what started was a comment about my mom. You will be babysitting next to your mommy for 2 hours, and that's going to Barnes and Nobles in 2 minutes. I said, okay. I really wish I could read the whole thing. And I mean, he's writing his feelings. I wish he would just write more about like what I wish I could read about what he exactly didn't like about her. Cause it almost feels and this is just completely one-sided, right? Like I don't know them from anything, but it almost feels like maybe his mom like babied him when he was a kid and maybe he doesn't have his anger in control. Just how hard he's going in these comments, but he loves his kids. So I mean, you have to understand he probably does have an anger issue because he killed his wife. So
One that would talk back and forth to the other.
I hear fireworks going off and I hate her more. What's up? How? Oh, is this to him? He's like talking to himself. Fine, I am married, 4 kids. Oh, I thought they just had 3 kids. Fine, I am married, 4 kids, live in Grand Rapids. What's going on? My wife is a bitch. In what way? She's a control freak.
Talked about
and thinks that the problem is my anger. Little does and killed herself. I get the kids in 100K. Actually, what it started was a comment about my mom. In 2 minutes, started in this the next day. They always do these when I watch these shows, and I never get a chance to read them. So I'm sorry, I just had to read these.
planning to divorce, how much he hated her.
Oh no! Oh no! I want to go back a little bit. That was quick. All right, let's see.
There was a lot of writings about his
No, I really got to see this.
directly tiable Hagel to this murder.
Had Bo been hiding his involvement all along? While the another look at him, they also dig for more evidence against Michael. And after several searches, they make a surprising discovery.
At Mike's house, we found the ceiling had a hidden compartment. When we took this down, we found 3 hard drives in this hidden compartment.
Investigators spend time decoding the contents of Michael's hard drives, and what they find is chilling.
In those hard drives, there was journaling. I would call it strange. It appeared to be written by almost 2 different personalities. One that would talk back and forth to the other. He talked about planning to divorce, how much he hated her.
Okay, all right. I can't rely on you for anything. She is such a bitch. I can't wait for this time next year. This is like a journal that I would write. Yesterday, while we were cleaning the storeroom, there was a moment of nostalgia. We talked of Joel and his moments and reminisced. Funnily, we never laughed anymore. Sarah, she is starting to talk back. She loves my Afghan and asks for tonight. I love her so much. I can't stand it. Joel's such a monkey man. He loves to be on the move and play with trucks. Today, TV spanked Joel at Menards. I hate her. TB thinks that she is so giving. I can't effing stand her. I remember last summer at Saugatuck at the blank restaurant, she makes a scene and bitches at everything I did. I see at this. We get organized, simple. Use Franklin and Pace, get goggles, da, 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 da. Use Bobby's confirmation as guy, see about marriage license.
There was a
Uh,
lot of writings about
I can't rely on she's such a bitch. I can't wait for this time next year.
his dislike and his hatred for Renee. Then, weeks later, police tracked down a crucial witness.
We covered a friend who had said that he had gifted a knife to Michael that was substantially similar to the one that was actually found.
And he admitted that he gave it to Mike as a gift. And it was delivered directly to Mike Pagel. So that helped us put the knife in Mike's hands.
So I know what you're thinking. Like, well, at least I was thinking this. 13 years later, why are you just now saying that you gave a knife to this guy, right? But you also, a couple things to keep in mind. One, this is for a show. So they probably edited this in a way where that guy may have said something 13 years ago, or he may not have said anything at all. But also, if the guy did come up and say, hey, I gave a knife to a dude, this was the kind of knife that I gave to him, there was no evidence tying him to the crime, and that's what a lot of people really get messed up when they're looking at crimes and everything. You can't just accuse people, because one, that could get you in trouble and get you sued. You can't just, it's libel, especially if it's not true. So you can't just throw out accusations. Two, you got to be careful about the evidence that you get, because when you go to court, you want to make sure everything is squared away, because there's nothing like a murderer or a killer getting away scot-free, all because everybody mishandled the information and the evidence for a case. We've seen it happen before. You don't want to see it happen again.
So now you have a knife that was found in the river that now a friend is saying at the boat.
While the evidence is circumstantial, police believe it strengthens their case even further against Michael.
There's nothing that could back up Michael's story in terms of physical evidence, any other witnesses, anything else other than his word about it. Whereas Bo at least had stuff to back it up. His alibi backed up, and the physical evidence that he provided backed it up. So there's just absolutely nothing that shows that Bo did this. This was Michael Bagel. This was all him that committed this murder that night.
Investigators conclude what likely happened on the night of Renee's murder. When the children were sleeping, he snuck out of his house and he went over to Renee's. It's pretty well known that she donated a kidney. Obviously, she wasn't strong at this point.
She was asleep in bed, and he walked in with that knife and brutally stabbed her.
I believe that Mike no doubt planned this out.
There's no way you leave a crime scene that clean and it's not carefully planned. How he absolutely didn't leave a blood drop, a fingerprint, a mark, any physical evidence.
Bo tells us about Mike commenting that he had worn coveralls and galoshes. So he had taken precaution to not get his clothes bloody, and that he had removed those items and then put them in a garbage bag and left.
Okay, so Mike took precautions. He used coveralls and all this other whoopty-doo. All right, cool. So here's my thing, right? Mike did all of that, and no one saw nothing. No one heard anything. Like his mom didn't hear anything. I would have, and I think his mom heard stuff, and I think his mom may not have known what was happening, but she's not going to turn her baby boy in. No, she's probably like a little bit of an enabler.
And that the clothes were later burned.
He's not a stupid man. He knew enough to cover his tracks. He went in there purposely. He had an intent, he had a purpose, and he went in there to kill her, and he did.
There was anger involved in this crime. This was evil.
But why would Michael kill Renee?
I believe Mike Pagel was very upset with the way the divorce was proceeding, that he didn't get sole custody of the children, that he didn't get the family home. Things just weren't going his way.
He's got motive, and if anybody's got rage, it's the about to be ex-husband getting what he wanted.
I think that the writing was on the wall for him, that this was the end.
Which is wild to me. So you would rather kill your wife, right? You'd rather kill your wife and go to prison and not be able to hold your kids ever. Sound reasoning, sound logic.
On October 5th, 2020, Michael Pagel is sentenced to 25 to 50 years in prison.
I never thought it would take 14 years to bring justice to Renee and to her family. But, you always had in the back of your mind that justice would be served.
It was incredible exhibition, and I do believe that the information that I provided and the passion that I poured into this did help. Renee's loved ones will always be inspired by her memory. The friendship that we had was deep. It was eternal. She brought so much beauty to this world. She was just a bright light shining. Oh, I miss her.
All right, you guys. So that is it for our true crime. So a couple of things on this episode. I don't want to seem like I'm completely team her on the side of the lady who passed away, because who knows? She could have been a real jerk to her husband, and people, she had her sister on her side, on her husband's side, but also like her sister could be the ops. Like there's just no way I'd be over it unless my sister did him crazy wrong. Even still, like I still wouldn't be talking to old dude. I would just be letting my sister know, like, you did him wrong. But regardless of what he feels or what he felt that transpired, you can't kill people. Like, I know you don't like her, and it sounds like that he was like more fun, and he wanted to be more carefree and fun, and she was just more about, you got to discipline your children, you got to discipline them. So, and then they just weren't on the same page. These are probably one of the conversations that you have before you get married. Like, how do you raise your kids and what will be acceptable for you? And it's wild, for 13 years, the brother knew about it, but he kept that a secret. I wonder what was the thing that made him say, I can't hold this secret anymore. I've got to tell. Because I guess some closure, regardless of the time, is better than no closure. But I feel bad for her kids. I wonder where does her kids fall in a line. I would love to go, and I won't post them on our webpage because that's horrible. People have the right to their lives, but I am curious about her kids and just how they had how was it growing up that they didn't have their mother, and then they have a father who's still alive but he's in prison. I'm always curious about the kids who grew up in one relative, one parent killed the other parent. Like, what does that do to them? How does that mess with their psyche? I'm always curious about that. I would love to find some videos about kids who had life after, my parent killed my other parent, and this is how we dealt with it. But thank you guys for joining me. I have a new video coming out tomorrow. If you can't wait till tomorrow, take a moment and check out the other videos that I have already up, and join me every Monday at 9 p.m. as you do true crime with your bestie. All right, guys, thanks. I should say 9-ish because I'm still trying to make it work. Thank again, you guys, for joining me today. I hope you have a great evening. Be safe, be sound, be loved.